The guitar solo on Devil in Disguise by Cale off his Grasshopper album is absolutely amazing. It's a really, really beautiful solo, and it showcases Cale's unique style and his approach to playing guitar. Let me play the solo for you, and then I'm going to show you some of the techniques he's using and how he gets that sound. So one of the interesting things about this song right from the get-go is the rhythm guitar in the song is absolutely amazing. It's perfect. It's one of the coolest sounding rhythm tracks I've ever heard. It's kind of like a Chuck Berry style rhythm, and you can hear him playing it here. You can see here. Check out this cool rhythm. It's kind of slapping the strings, creating this great little groove. It's a basic Chuck Berry beat, right? But he's playing it with this kind of laid-back feel. It's kind of got this unique style where it's kind of flicking the strings, creating that little rhythm. And if you listen to the original track on the album, the rhythm guitar is the loudest thing in the mix. In fact, the solo is kind of buried, but it's such a killer rhythm sound. And check out him talking here about his guitar.
This machinery I earn my living with, right here. It's was originally a harmony guitar, and I did some construction on it. Be sure and get the camera in on that. And the reason I did all this, I put all this was a round hole guitar, $50 harmony guitar, and I want to make it a solid body. I was playing on one of
So he really
Leon's
developed
shows,
a kind of a
right?
unique sound with stuff like that. He was very creative. So the original song on the album is in the key of B, so maybe he'd be capoing it, but it's like a basic Chuck Berry beat. And if you check out this intro section here, just check out how he's going down the scale there. He's kind of shaking that little half bar there. And then walking down the scale. This kind of laid back rolling feel. Hammering onto that major third. So it just blends into the mix really, really beautifully. How he got his sound was by using a varied palette of techniques. So sometimes he used his fingers like that to kind of pluck the strings. You get that kind of plucky staccato sound. Sometimes he used his thumb to get that kind of muted, almost like horn-like sound. A kind of almost like a jazzy sound. And then sometimes he'd use his fingers like this to get this kind of sustained sound. Pads of his fingers, and sometimes he'd use a pick as well. But if you look at this solo, it starts with this beautiful section of double stops right here. So there's this little section on the guitar, like say we're in the key of B here. Our anchor spot is the B pentatonic scale. There, right? But there's this little passageway of double stops, which is right here. And it's just all these killer licks right there. So basically you start off with this little shape here. So you start with fingers 1 fret apart, and flat finger, and then to this shape here. And then this one here is actually bringing you home. So it's those 4 little shapes. And Chuck Berry used those shapes a lot, and there's so much cool stuff you can do with that. But this solo starts off where he's sliding and he's kind of letting those notes resonate. And then he walks up to that. So that shape there, it's the same as that. It's the perfect fourth, which is on top of the chord. So you start off. He would do this thing where he would do these like little rakes with a pick or his fingers. So kind of rake in with your thumb there, and it just kind of like lets those notes bloom. Also, what he's doing there is rhythmic displacement, which is where you play a phrase and then you play it again, but on a different part of the beat. So he comes in there with the accent on the downbeat, and then he plays it again, but this time it starts on the and on the offbeat. And that's a technique that, you know, Chuck Berry used that a lot. It's a great technique where you repeat a section, but then you shift the timing on it. So Chuck Berry would use it like those kind of things where he moves around the beat. So part of what makes this solo so beautiful is the way that he moves between those short, sharp notes and then those notes where he's really letting it ring out. So like he walks down and then he plays this hammer on to a short staccato note like that. It's a really killer little phrase. You can use that anywhere. He plays that little phrase there, hammers on, accent then hammer, and then he leaves it for 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is really a cool thing. You know, it's like to let that space be there and let that solo breathe. It's hard to do, you try it, but it's so effective. And then he launches into this killer descending line where he moves to his thumb and he does this thing where it's like... So it's almost like he's scatting with the guitar. It's like that phrasing is very jazzy. The theory behind that, basically, what he's doing is he's taking the pentatonic licks, which is a lot of the pentatonic scales where you're 2 frets apart, right? And then what he's doing is he's inserting chromatic notes in between those notes, but he's using them as color tones. So the idea is you can insert a chromatic note anywhere in between these pentatonic positions here. So that's a great technique where you're basically centering yourself around the pentatonic scale, but then you're adding in these chromatic passing notes. So you can do that wherever you're 2 frets apart, you can add that chromatic passing note in. Then he kind of does this cool thing where he walks up. So that little lick there, he kind of creeps up the scale. He's using a rhythmic device of inserting muted notes in there. And that lick there's killer. Basically, he's just hammering on to that flat 5, that passing note. And that's a really great little trick to do, where you're basically just toggling off that flat 5 note. It's got that tension in it, so he's playing off that tension. And he does more of that kind of scatting lick, where he's like encircling those pentatonic notes with those chromatic notes. It's kind of like outlining the sound of that B chord. And then he ends up with this. Outlining the chord changes as it goes from B to A. So that's a great lick there. Basically, what you do is you flatten your first finger here, and then you're going to hammer on, and you're plucking the 2nd and 3rd strings. And then you got your root right here. So you're outlining a B chord. And then you flat finger here. And then hammer back on. So that lick outlines a B chord. Then he plays it again. But ending up on the high notes this time. And then he goes to the 4 chord. So he's playing those snappy notes. With his fingers snapping those notes. So the funny thing with that solo is it's so beautiful, but it just kind of sounds like it's kind of part of the song It's just kind of laying in there. It's like bubbling along in the background almost. It doesn't really stand out in the mix like this really kind of bold thing. It's part of the overall groove of the song. But if you listen really closely, it's really beautiful, and the phrasing is amazing, and those kind of jazzy licks and those beautiful bell-like tones that of those sustained notes. You know, it's just a really amazing testimony to the greatness of JJK on how his understated playing was so influential on so many guitar players. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and appreciate all your guys' comments. And remember to give us a subscribe and a like. And hopefully you'll have fun listening to JJ Cale and learning some of his licks. But most of all, remember, turn it up.